Start this record. And we're back with Inside the Kennel. And we're here with Eric. And he is a certified, you are certified, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're a certified canine nutritionist.
Correct.
Now, I didn't even know this was a thing until I run into you on TikTok. And I'm gonna be honest with you. The man, like I seen the videos. I didn't know your lives from the jump. I seen your videos where you go into the stores and you would break a, Costco, and it
Yeah.
amazed me that Science Diet on average is worse than some of your store brands. Like I was like, oh well, I got to learn more, and that's what intrigued me and made me want to get you, on our podcast here.
Cool. Cool.
So if you want, give us a little bit of background.
Yeah.
I'm sure when you went to school and your teacher asked you what you're going to be when you grow up, you didn't say a canine nutritionist.
No, no.
So somehow life pushed you
Yes, sir.
here, and
Yep.
go ahead and tell us how you got there.
Yeah. So the short version is I've always been into human nutrition. I competed in bodybuilding competitions back in the day. I've done powerlifting competitions recently. And I worked in the human supplement business for 14 years for four different supplement companies. So I've always been into nutrition, just never really focused on dogs. When I met Christine and we got a bunch of dogs together, we had a pack of three dogs prior to this current pack that we have four. And these dogs all passed on. This was my soul dog, Miss Olympia. She was an English bulldog. We were talking about bulldogs before. She's my soul dog. She passed away 5 years ago, and I was crushed and devastated. If you've ever lost a dog, you know the pain. It's just absolutely brutal, especially your soul dog. And I wanted more time with that dog, and I wanted her to live longer. And it just led me down a rabbit hole of dog nutrition. I know that dogs can't live forever, right? Unfortunately, it sucks, but they can live a lot longer with good nutrition. And that really led me down a rabbit hole of research, finding out what's in dog food. Then I went and got certified. I actually got two certifications. Our dogs can live a lot longer and healthier if we feed them properly and make better food choices. And once I started learning about that, I applied it to our business at Paw Power Nutrition. And then I said, you know what? I got to share this information. I want other people's dogs to live as long as possible too, because every time I hear a story of somebody's dog passing, I feel it, and I would love to save people some of that pain.
Absolutely, like that is difficult, and like so when you say the dogs could live longer on average if with good nutrition, and let's take with the English bulldog because they have a short lifespan in comparison to other dogs, and they are their personalities lend themselves to being eye attached. I have an English bulldog, and that dog acts completely different as far as her personality. She is just a klutz. She is just a big, lovable
My favorite breed, man.
man. That is a wrecking ball on legs, and I don't. She's got such a good personality. I don't even care.
Yes.
I probably your wife don't need to hear that. That dog is never going to be trained to probably her level, and I don't care. I'm
Yep.
cool with the way she is.
Yep.
So if what's the average lifespan on an English bulldog? 8 years.
English
That's a
bulldogs
good
at
one, right?
the 8 to 10 years is their average.
So if you fed them right, like what would you? And just your
I
opinion.
mean,
Like we're not doctors here.
yeah, there's no way to quantify that because there's
Because
so
it,
many
it
factors.
depends on how they start life too, right? Like if they
Of
come
course.
from a good breeding program or a bad one, that's going to greatly impact it. So I'm just saying, best case scenario, like if you took a dog that had no problems when it was a puppy and you fed it right its entire life, what would you expect to extend its life by?
I don't think I could quantify that with a number because there's just so many factors, genetics and everything, so many factors. So I can't put an exact number on it. But I
Yeah,
know that,
well, I was looking for advice for myself.
yeah,
I'm
that's all
so
right.
selfish.
Yeah, I can't
Yes.
put, but
I'm
we do
sorry.
know that bad nutrition, can lead to chronic disease and stuff. So, good nutrition is definitely going to have them live a better quality of life and a longer life.
So what would you say? Like there was a kibble, it, like a main ingredient in kibble. I guess maybe first let's go ahead and explain reading kibble labels.
Sure.
as far as like, because I'm gonna be honest with you, hey man, that ingredient splitting, like
Mhm.
I didn't even know that was a thing. And then when I watched one of your, I don't even remember where I seen that. I think I seen it on one of your videos, and like I went over to my bag of dog food right then, and I thought it was good dog food, and I was like, man, there is 4 different kinds of corn in this dude. And just
Yep.
threw it out and went to the store and got some more, you know.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, let me give you some, I'll give you guys some red flags, what to look for on a dog food label. Unfortunately, you would think that the dog food label tells us everything. And at first glance, you see ingredients, you see a guaranteed analysis, which shows you nutrients and numbers. But unfortunately, those don't tell us everything. Specifically, the guaranteed analysis, right? You'll see protein, you'll see some vitamins and minerals, not all, they don't list them all. Um, they only give you some nutrients, not all. The nutrients are, if you look at the numbers, they only give you minimums and maximums. They do not give you the exact amount. So if it was like calcium, they will not tell you the exact amount. They'll say minimum 1%. Could be maximum, it could be up to 6%, which is really high and detrimental to your dog. You just don't know. So the other problem is those numbers are on an as fed basis, which means it includes the moisture in the food. And listen, kibble does not have a lot of moisture, but it still has some, so that skews the numbers a bit. So if you really want to nerd out on this stuff, you can email the dog food company and ask them for the complete nutrient panel on a dry matter basis, right? That's your accurate numbers. And then you can look and see if those are in optimal ranges for your dog's life stage. There's puppy, which has higher requirements than adult and senior. So the guaranteed analysis does not tell us a lot. Okay, that's number one. Ingredients, that's important, right? But it doesn't tell us everything exactly, and it can be manipulated. So an ingredient panel, ingredients are going to go in descending order from left to right, from most to least. Okay. However, you have to understand how that is determined. They determine that on uncooked weight. This is very important. It's not just sheer volume. So let's say chicken is the first ingredient, which is a good thing. We want to see a named meat, right? That's one of my rules. Like we want to see a named meat. But you got to think about a raw, fresh piece of chicken has a lot of water in it. It could have up to 70% water. You cook that, and we know kibble is cooked a lot, you lose a lot of that water weight. So even though chicken is the first ingredient, it may not be the most in the bag. Okay. You mentioned ingredient splitting, which is something very common where you'll see corn, comma, corn protein meal, comma, corn gluten meal. They've split up the corn like 3 different times. Now, why would they do that? So that the corn looks like there's less of it in the bag. It's further down the list. When if you had that corn all together, there might be more corn in that bag than chicken. That would be a problem for me. So ingredient splitting is one of the things. So when you see them do the same ingredient, peas several times or corn several times, that's a red flag. If it has an unnamed meat where it's generic meat, right, or generic meat meal, that's a big red flag. If you see a meal, right, if there's chicken meal, that's fine, or beef meal, that's fine. That's not a bad thing. People think that's a bad thing. It's a meal is rendered down, meaning cooked down, muscle meat. That's where all the protein is. Let's say a chicken breast. It's cooked down, the moisture is removed. It can include some skin and bone, but not other body parts by definition. So it's mostly protein. You're actually left with like a protein powder. So a chicken meal is a good thing. It's a dry matter protein. So if you see that high up on the list, that's good. The one you want to stay far away from is the generic meat meal. You'll often see meat meal or meat and bone meal or meat and bone byproduct. The problem with that is by law, they can use the worst quality meat that there is. It's called 4D meat, where the animal was already dead, diseased, dying, or disabled before slaughter.
Uh-oh, we lost you for a second. What's going on here? I can't hear you, Eric.
I hear him fine. I hear you fine.
No, I hear you fine, not him. I'm sorry to disrupt the deal here. I have an Elon Musk issue here.
Can you hear me now?
I got you now. I got you now.
They're getting mad at him for telling. He's telling all the secrets. How they stretch out the corn. Yeah, they tapping into us.
It's big corn, huh?
Yeah,
Shutting
it's
us
big
down right
corn.
now.
Yeah,
Big,
yeah. He's gonna
big
shut down
corn.
all the dog food factories. He's trying to get him, man.
Well, we got you. If you could get that flow back, sir, you were
got you.
killing it there for a minute.
Yeah. couple other things to look out for. Generic terms like they'll say animal digest or animal fat. That's not good. You want to know which animal it came from. You also want to look for any kind of artificial preservatives. You don't want that. Every dog food's going to have some type of preservative to keep it shelf stable, but you don't want the artificial ones. Examples of that are
That
like BHT or BHA.
that's the question I wanted to ask you because there's not a dog food in the world that can sit on the shelf without some type of preservatives.
Yep.
So, what would be the best? Or I want well, none of them's good. I'm sure, but but like which are there certain ones that you would want to stay away from more than others, or are they even naming those on the bags? Because I know some preservatives are like there's a certain few letters for it. I forgot what it is, but I know it's in a lot of them, and it's kind of like what they put in our food as far as to make you want it more, even though it
Yeah.
doesn't do anything for your body. I forgot the name of it, but yeah,
I'm not sure which one. Is you talking about MSG? It might be that.
yes, like MSGs.
Yeah, they don't put that in dog food, but they
No, they
put
don't put that, but they have something similar.
um
Correct?
yeah, BHA and BHT are two artificial preservatives that are not great
Right,
for your dog that you'll see often in
right.
cheaper foods. The better, more natural preservatives is mixed tocopherols. It's basically
Okay,
that's a natural preservative. There's no problems with that whatsoever.
right.
Uh,
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, the more natural ones that are not to be afraid of versus the bad ones.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, the other thing you want to stay away from is artificial colors, and this drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Your dog does not give a shit what color the food.
Why? I was just about to say, why would you? Yeah, it's kind of like so. Why? Because all my kibble is just brown or something. But why would
That's
they color kibble?
that's for the humans. That's for the human eye. That's it.
Kind of
Um,
like M&Ms. None of them taste different. They just have the different colors to make your mind think.
it's all the stuff on the front of the bag is marketing
Yeah.
stuff to draw your attention. Your dog doesn't
Right.
know and doesn't care.
Right. Of course.
Um, so that's the main stuff on the dog food bag as far as the label. The other things to look at is the type of processing. Now, most like traditional kibbles are very high heat processed. They're cooked 3 and 4 times, which is not great. What's cool is nowadays we have so many other choices. There are air dried, there's freeze dried, gently baked and gently cooked kibbles. So there's a lot of good options nowadays that we didn't have 10, 20 years ago in dog food.
So what about the freeze dry? So okay, how good
Okay.
is that versus anything else?
Yeah, freeze dried is great. That's a great process. It doesn't use any heat. It retains the nutrients. No, freeze drying is great.
Okay.
Freeze dry, air dry, gently baked, those are all way better than your traditional, high heat baked cooked kibbles.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
so what about I know that some dog foods they'll actually show you like what percentage of protein comes from animals, plants, stuff like that. What would be the kind of your generic? I don't want to say generic. What's a good range for a dog that's over a year old, 2 years old, that's an adult dog to like what's its protein needs? And I know that's going to vary from size, but
Sure.
let's just say to go with your wife's suggestion, it's a Labrador.
Okay. In general, you want a minimum of 15% protein up to 30%. Higher can be good for some dogs. It could be detrimental for some others, but in general, that's a good range. That's your
No,
good range.
when you say it could be detrimental, you talking about like what health issue could too high protein cause?
So it won't cause this issue. However, if your dog already has kidney issues or even slightly elevated kidney values, the protein for them is a problem. It
So,
doesn't actually cause that, but if they already have that, they cannot process the protein as well as a healthy dog.
not to get too far off track, but since you bring that up, uh, are you familiar with like DNA health testing? And there's certain panels they do for certain for
Yeah, we
each
did it
breed
on
has them.
we did it on our Pablo, on our dog here,
So
Pablo.
so 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 like when you mentioned the kidneys, that has to do with CY3, and that's the likelihood of your dog producing kidney stones later in life.
Right.
So if you've done that and your dog, is positive for that, then that would be a because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know about the vets where y'all are. The vets where we are, and T Rod could attest to this. That when you bring this DNA health testing up to them, they're not very familiar with it. So when you ask about specific things like CY3, you don't get that they shy away from any answers there.
Hmm.
And I myself, I don't know how much of it I buy into, but I do know that if there's anything to it at all, the food is what's going to be the problem later in life because unless you do a urine test, you don't know for sure. But if your dog has that problem already that where it could manifest, then you should the diet is going to be of utmost importance, right? I guess that's a long way of getting there.
Yep. I think every dog parent should get an annual blood and urine test and poop test with their dog just to stay on top of that stuff.
Okay. But if they're like high protein for a dog that has something like that would that would contribute to the problem?
It could, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I successfully derailed the conversation there.
Well, I just wanted to touch back real quick. You mentioned some of the dog foods will tell you the percentage of protein from animal protein.
Yes.
Most of them do not, but there are a few foods that do, and I love when they do because you mentioned before all the corn, right? So there are some people on some creators and social media people that analyze dog food. One is a vet. I'm not going to name any names, but she only looks at nutrient levels. She will only look at the protein percentage, the vitamins, the minerals. She doesn't care about the ingredients. And I strongly disagree with her on that because both are important ingredients and nutrients. I understand what she's saying. Ultimately, your dog needs nutrients from that food, right? They need vitamins, minerals, protein, carbs, fat, that stuff. Pablo, stop. Sorry. But the ingredients are what make up those nutrients. So corn, you could have that dog food with all that corn in it. It's going to show up as protein, right?
Right.
They'll both show up as protein, corn and beef on an ingredient panel, but they are not equivalent. Not to get too nerdy about protein, but proteins are broken down into individual amino acids.
I was just about to say, aren't proteins different? Because you got like when you eat peanut butter and then when you eat meat, that's gonna be different protein.
100%. So the amino acid makeup of like peanuts is very different than the amino acid makeup of beef.
Yes.
They both have protein, they both have aminos, but they're individual aminos, and some are more responsible for muscle building and health.
Yeah.
Animal proteins are going to have a lot higher in those aminos, whereas corn is going to be missing some of those aminos or very low in some of those aminos. So even though they're both protein, they're not equivalent.
Right.
So a lot of those dog food companies will bulk up their protein numbers with corn, soy, and wheat. They're cheap and they'll bulk up the protein, but it's not as good for your dog.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
What
that's
about warming up the food? What if you have food that you've pre-mixed? Like I cook a lot of natural stuff, but
Nice.
then I also put a few kibble. I put kibble in there as well because there's going to be things that are not necessarily in the natural food that is going to be kibble, so that they still get certain things. Now, when I re-warm that up, say I pre-made some of it and it all didn't get used, and I warm it up in the morning, does
Yep.
it affect that kibble in any kind of way?
Not really. No. As long as you're
It's
not
not. It's not
super,
taking anything from it. It's not. It's not doing anything from it.
you're just warming it up. So as long as you're not using
Right.
super high heat, it's not going to
Right.
kill the nutrient.
Right.
You
Long
know?
as anything, it wouldn't kill anything.
But I love what you do, and you touched upon something that I recommend to everybody, regardless of the kibble that you feed. If you feed the best kibble to the worst kibble, I
Yeah.
do not recommend just feeding just the kibble. I will always
Yes.
tell people add number one, hydration. Add water or bone broth. Kibble is dry.
Hmm.
Kibble's
Hmm.
got 10 to 12% moisture, and dogs will
Right.
not drink enough water on their own. In
Right.
nature, they would get water from fresh food. So I always recommend hydrate your kibble, add some water or bone broth. Bone broth will give you some additional nutrients, and add in some fresh foods. Even
Yeah.
10% fresh foods makes a huge difference in your dog's health.
Yes.
that.
I've always believed that. Yeah.
The
I'm glad you said it.
the bone broth. How important it is to get the right kind here? Because I know that if you just go to the store and buy some, if you don't watch it, like it'll be loaded with sodium.
Correct. Number one, right. No salt added. Now, bones are going to have some naturally occurring sodium, but you don't want added salt. The ones with added salt have a ton of sodium. You also want to stay away from like onions, garlic, and spices, that kind of stuff as well. There are some bone broths you can find. I found one in my local supermarket called Butcher's Broth, and it was just beef, water, and carrots. That was it. So it was perfect. No salt added. They do make dog specific bone broths. There's a company, Brutus Bone Broth, that makes one. Open Farm. The Honest Kitchen, a bunch of these companies make bone broth. You can make your own. It's actually pretty simple. I have a recipe on our TikTok channel. It just takes time. If you have a crock pot, some water, bones, and some apple cider vinegar, you can make your own.
Well, that's helpful. And you said that's where?
We have that somewhere on our TikTok feed, but it's real simple. I mean, you get some good bones, put them in a crock pot with water, a little bit of apple cider vinegar that helps leach out the minerals from the bones, and you basically let it simmer overnight, 12, 24 hours in a crock pot on low, and you're good to go.
Well, that since you said that, you feeding just kibble is not a great idea. That brings me my next question because I was going to talk to you about toppers, and if you feed mainly kibble, is there a so like you had mentioned and turned me on to the Dr. Harvey's. I think it's the I got it right here.
Well, vibrant.
Yeah, there you go, the Vibrance. Yeah, because there's two or three different ones.
Yeah, that's a great product. I love it. Something that we use with our dogs. It's literally dehydrated fruits and vegetables. It's whole foods. It's just dehydrated, and it's got everything in it to make a meal complete, except for the protein and the fat. So it's all your. It's got your calcium. It's got your iodine. It's got fruits and vegetables. All that stuff in balance already. So it's very convenient. You just rehydrate it with some water. It's a great product.
Yeah, so is there like so with that I had problems deciding exactly like how much to feed it because it's hard like it gives a recommendation but it I feel like it also is based off of what kibble you're feeding as far as the protein and the fat in that.
Yeah, well, actually, the original design for Raw Vibrance was not meant as a kibble topper. It does make a very good kibble topper, but that's not what it was originally designed for. They originally formulated that to balance out a raw diet. People were feeding raw, and a lot of people think this is a whole rabbit hole we could go down, but a lot of people think raw feeding is just meat, and that is not accurate. Dogs are facultative carnivores, not obligate carnivores. In other words, they are not a pure carnivore. They thrive on mostly meat, but they need some nutrients that they cannot get from meat, which is opposite of cats. Cats are an obligate carnivore. They can thrive just on meat. So they came out with this raw vibrance to complement people that were feeding raw. People didn't know how much fruits and vegetables to add and how much calcium to add. So that's what they made it for. So if you're adding it to kibble, I would use a lot less of it, unless you're making a full meal out of it.
So basically, adding fruits and vegetables and certain things like that is no different. Giving it to them as same as for us. If you're going to work out, if you're going to eat healthier and better, you're going to get the same They're going to get all the vitamins and things they need from eating fresh fruits and vegetables, along with raw meat and kibble. Correct?
Yes. They don't need as much as we do as humans.
Right.
On the fruits and vegetables, they don't need a lot of it, but there are certain nutrients that they can't get from meat that they need from those things. Yeah.
Well, so since you brought up the raw diet there, uh, the, what is your recommendation? Because I've heard you say that that's not something that necessarily you do, but
Yeah.
and the reason is well, I'll let you tell it. But for people that are, what are the pitfalls of that? What are the things that they have to 100% address in that diet? Obviously, not just meat.
I do like raw feeding for a lot of people. There is a specific reason. We don't do it real quick. It's not anything crazy. I have two of our four dogs have a lot of anxiety and they lick like crazy. They'll lick our hands, they'll lick our face, they'll lick the furniture. When dogs eat raw meat, there could be bacteria on that meat. They lick my face or my wife's face. Now they pass that on to us and we can get sick from it.
Benny, you brought that up to me the other day. Remember?
I told you,
That's
yeah.
really,
This is where I heard it.
Yeah.
that's really the
Oh, okay,
reason.
okay.
That's really the
Gotcha.
reason we don't do it in this house. I would probably do it if it wasn't for that. So we just gently cook our meat in the crock pot on low just to kill the bacteria.
But there's nothing wrong with giving them that meat being cooked, long as you're not using any other crazy seasonings. That fat and that grease that's in it from it, even if you drain it, it's no different for them. If they ate it, it was all in there before you cooked it, correct?
Correct. Now, when I do feed, though, I get very lean meat because, again, too
Right.
much fat is not
Of
good.
course, you don't want all the fat. Right.
So here's the things with raw, some precautions that you need to take if you want to do raw. First, number one, do your homework. Don't just jump into it. Do a little bit of homework first. Get your raw food from a reputable raw feeding company. do not go to your supermarket and get raw meat and feed it to your dog. The
Oh,
FDA allows a higher allowable amount of bacteria in supermarket meat because they assume you're going to go home and cook it.
so no matter what, no matter what, how expensive it is, it doesn't matter. You
Yeah,
still wouldn't recommend it.
no, I would not because they allow
Wow.
more bacteria. And although
Okay.
dogs can handle bacteria better than humans, they still can get sick. They still can get salmonella poisoning. They can get
Oh,
listeria. They can get sick from it. So you don't
okay.
want to take that chance. Now, if
Gotcha.
you get it from, let's say, a butcher or where you know the source of it, that's a different story. I'm just saying, don't go into your local supermarket and get chopped meat and feed it to your dog.
Right. Because I'll go get steak and I'll go even get ground beef and I'll try to get, the most expensive one I can find. And then I just I don't give it to them. I give it to them on a daily, but I don't like pile it into the food that I'm mixing. It's kind of like little broken up pieces here and there that are all through it. But I've also warmed it up and had it in like the microwave where it pretty much kind of browns it some kind of way.
That's good because you'll kill some of that bacteria.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you want
Good.
to get it from a proper raw food company, and most of those companies, I wouldn't say most, almost all of them will add the nutrients that are missing from the raw meat already into their mix.
Okay.
So you'll get a complete and balanced meal from them.
Man, you finna make me switch up then. That's great to know.
That's kind of the point right here.
Yeah,
That's kind of the
because
point.
I'm big on the way I feed, man, and I feed a lot of. Vinny can tell I feed a lot of crazy, a lot of crazy ways when it comes to my dogs. I'm real particular, but I
Good.
never would have thought that, I won't say I never would have thought, but I wasn't too sure. And I was like, maybe it's not a big difference in it. So I'm just going to keep getting the meat from the supermarket versus buying it from a person that does, the raw things for the dogs. But now that you're telling me that, I'm going to have to definitely get
Yeah,
one.
I'm
So
not saying your dog's definitely going to get sick from the supermarket meat, but it's
Right.
definitely a risk, you know?
It's more likely that way than it is the other way.
Yeah.
so
And the proper raw food companies will do what they call a kill step on the bacteria. They have this process called HPP, which will
Uh-huh.
kill the bacteria. So just make
Okay.
sure you get it from a reputable company.
so is there a an ideal time like a raw diet a problem that a dog might have that a raw diet is been known to eliminate? Like, is there a health issue or what signs or symptoms might be
Sure.
coming with your dog to where you're like, okay, it's time I should try raw?
Yeah, a lot of it would be allergies. Dogs with a lot of allergies, raw can help. In some cases, it can help with dogs with digestion. In other cases, it's worse for their
How
digestion.
would it help with allergies? But like, so outside of like a wheat or grain allergy, like how would it help with an allergy? Because oh, okay, so it's the traditional way of thinking is, and what this is why I started watching you is, man, if your dog was itching and you talk to the vet, 9 times out of 10, oh, did you take chicken? We're going to take Frenchies to be specific. Oh, did
Yeah.
you take chicken out? Well, but then like I look it up and I do a little research and I think it's only like 15% of the time it's actually a food allergy. It's more of an environmental issue. And I think I've actually even heard you say that after I
Yeah.
got to listen to you.
Yeah, environmental allergies are way more common than food allergies. And food allergies, believe it or not, the proteins are more likely to be the allergen than the grains. It's more likely to be chicken or beef. Those are the two
That's
most common
Yeah,
allergens.
that was what I was going to ask you is the prominent ones because so is there a what protein would be the ideal if you're dealing with allergies and you don't want to introduce a new problem and then
Yep.
because if you go, oh, I'm gonna go raw and you feed beef, but that was a problem all along because your
Right.
kibble had it. Well,
Correct.
you didn't actually address the problem, you just
Correct.
continued it.
I would try
Well,
something novel, lamb, bison. I like fish. I love fish as a protein source for dogs. Something novel, not that's not beef and chicken. Even turkey. There are dogs with chicken allergies that can eat turkey. It's a different, it's slightly different. And it's almost always the protein that's the issue, not the fat. It's the protein in those foods.
you would so the corn, all the grain in there wouldn't does that?
They could. Some dogs have corn and grain allergies, but it's not as common as the protein.
Let's see. There you go. You learned something right there, dude, didn't you, T-Rod? Oh,
Yeah,
this is
man. I was about to ask him because I was about to ask him that. And what about the rice? So some are good on brown rice, some are good on white rice.
Yep. Like humans, a lot of stuff is individual. So
Yeah,
I have four dogs, three might be fine with rice, and one that might bother them. Uh,
right.
in general, Rice is, I don't want to call it a filler, but it's kind of like a filler. There's not a lot of nutrition in it. It's more
Yeah.
carbohydrates for
Uh-huh.
energy and fillers. Now, every kibble is going to have, you'll notice kibbles do have a decent amount of carbohydrates that actually helps
Yes.
form the kibble. It
Right.
helps them bind it and form the kibble. That's
Uh-huh.
one. The other reason it's cheaper, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rice is
I
cheap.
use it. I use it because, like you said, it's cheap. It's like I get the brown rice is like 79 cents a bag, and it stretches out my kibble like
Yep,
for
sure.
like a month. It
I don't
goes
think
way
it's,
further.
look, I don't think rice is necessarily a bad thing. Almost everything comes down to dose. It's very hard to
Yes.
say one thing is this ingredient is bad or that's bad. It's almost always dose. And this is missing on social media today. And it frustrates me. People don't want to have nuanced conversations. People want a quick, well, rice is toxic, let's say. I'm just throwing that out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You'll see that a lot. And a lot of people will start their videos with that. And it's a hook to get you hooked into the video. But everything's about dose. The dose makes the poison.
Right.
I hope that makes sense. Like,
It
It,
does.
it 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 does. I was told, and I'm not going to do it
How
because
many
I
people
can't
have you
find
known
any.
to die from a Tylenol? But if you take a whole bottle, I mean,
you got my point. Yeah.
Right, right. Well, I was told that garlic is actually good for a dog as long as it's in the right amount. And there was actually the guy who told me that, like, I want to say it was like half a clove. It's like garlic was bad once you exceed a certain amount, a
For
dose.
sure. For
but isn't
sure.
it bad for us if we take too much? I mean, it's like you said,
Well, it's
anything. I
bad for
think.
your breath for sure.
Yeah, there was one study years ago about garlic, and that's how that started. Yeah, it's all about the amount. A small amount can be beneficial, but if you're not sure, right? If you're not sure of the amount, then stay away from it just to be on the
Right.
safe. But everything has a dose that either makes it effective or dangerous. Even water. There have been several people who have died from drinking too much, humans who have died from drinking too much water in a day. You can die from water
Yes.
toxicity.
Yes. What is it called? Water X.
God, it's water
Toxicity.
toxicity, but there is a name for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
It's just too much water. It's
Cause you
we
see
don't have to
people
get
drink it and go
scientific.
throw up on the porch and stuff. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
we don't avoid water, even though it can be toxic, right? We don't avoid
Right.
it, right? You just drink it in a proper amount.
Because I think strawberries are pretty much the same way. Like you can give it to them in moderation, but too much of it could be
Yeah.
toxic to the dog. Correct?
Anything, too much of anything. Like I even
Yeah.
said, too much protein can be bad for the dog.
Right.
You know,
Because I try to
Well,
do mine in a
well,
certain portion, and I try to always use a certain amount. I can't say exactly that I actually put it in cups and weigh it, but it's
yep,
kind of like an eyeball thing to where I kind of know. And I think I've gotten it off more like because of the dog's poop. I've seen rice still in the poop, and that lets me know I must have put too much rice in it because they didn't digest it,
right,
or it may have been harder for them, and the stool may have been softer with the rice in it because But then whenever I take out less and do a certain amount, everything's just fine. You don't see it in there. Everything's hard. Everything is good, and it's like, okay, I must have gave them too much.
right. Yep, sounds about right. Biggest thing is, and this is my biggest key to dog health. It is involved in it's nutrition's involved, but it's not technically nutrition. Is keeping your dog at a healthy body weight. To me, that is
that
the
is nutrition. That is
it's,
100%
yeah,
nutrition.
it's a part of it, right? So you can feed your dog the best food, but if you're feeding too much of it, they'll gain weight, and that's not good for their health.
Right.
So if
I
I had,
kind of
I'm going to give you guys my top three things for a dog to live a long, healthy life. And they're not like this top secret hack or anything. They're three basic things. Keep your dog at a healthy body weight. An overweight dog is not good, not healthy for them. And some people think it's cute, especially with like English bulldogs aren't my favorite breed. It's not cute for the dog. Healthy body weight, feed them the best food you could feed, and their dental health. A lot of people don't realize how much dental health affects their dog. Bad dental hygiene can lead to heart problems in your dog.
That's humans too, huh?
I'm about to say, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, along that vein, so just give us like if money's not an object and you got doctor money, what kibble would you feed? If you're a working man and you shop mostly at Walmart, what
Yep.
what is your middle of the road? Like this is a good price, good value.
Yep.
You're probably talking about around, I don't know what dog food is there. That in my opinion, it's probably gonna be around $50 a bag here for about 40, 45 pounds.
Yep, I got you. I
It's
get asked that question.
and wait. And it the one and Old Roy is too easy. Don't do that one. But we need the one like do not feed this food. And Old Roy, that's tree bark. Like everybody knows that.
All right. So top. These are some of my top recommendations. And look, I may forget. I may be forgetting a few brands, so I hope nobody gets insulted here. But these are some of my top recommendations. I really like Open Farm. Super transparent company. They give you so much information about their sourcing and everything. I really like them. Gently cooked. So Open Farm, Farmina, very, very good. They're actually an Italian company, and they have to adhere to the European standards on dog food, which is a lot higher than the US. The Honest Kitchen, human grade food made in a human grade facility. We like that. Stella and Chewy's, I'd throw them in there. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few, but those are like some of my top choices. Now they're not cheap. There's another one that's really
What
expensive. Good.
what is the price range you're talking about here? Like dollars per pound, you think?
Per pound, I'm not sure, but we're looking at on an open farm, you're probably looking at $95 for maybe a 30-pound bag in that range.
That's pretty good. It's pretty steep.
It's not cheap. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
cheap. So like I price it out. We have 4 dogs and one's 150 pounds. It's way too much money for us to feed it. Um, so you
Sounds
asked,
like Mary. That's how Merrick is. I feed Merrick, and it's like,
yeah, good stuff.
yeah.
That's a lower price point than open farm, but still good stuff. Not super cheap either. Middle of the road, like so you asked for like an economical one, like a Walmart, let's say. Walmart has their own brand, Pure Balance, which is decent for the price. Okay, I don't want to say it's a great food, but for the price, it's a good food.
Okay, that's what let me clear that up. I don't necessarily mean at Walmart. I mean, but something that's a working man can feed and feel confident that it may not be filet mignon for the dog, but they're still feeding a healthy kibble for the most part.
Gotcha. Diamond Naturals is probably the one I'd go to for economical yet good. And they make the food for Sam's Club and Costco. So if you buy the Costco brand or the Sam's brand, it's Diamond Naturals. And it's a very good food for the price. We actually fed our pack prior to this pack, before I was into dog nutrition. We fed them the Costco salmon and sweet potatoes for their whole life. And they actually my English Bulldog lived longer than normal. She lived for 11 years.
Well, that's I feed the Diamond Naturals the salmon and potato.
That's the one we did, the salmon and sweet
Yeah.
potato. It's a very solid kibble for the price, man.
Yeah, it's just a little over $1 a pound. It's not too bad. I think here you can buy a bag $40 for 30 pounds.
Okay, and that's good. Yeah, that's very decent. And then you said worst. I would have went Old Roy, but you already
I
told
know,
me.
I know, man. Everybody, it's too easy. Like I ain't even a nutritionist, and I know better than Old Roy.
I mean, I guess I'd have to go, classic dog Purina dog chow. It's crap.
Oh yeah, oh well. This main ingredient is whole corn. That is the first thing.
Bag of corn.
Yeah.
Buying.
Well, but yeah. So let me ask you. So like with these Frenchies, they can be finicky, and especially the puppies
So
that
no
are making.
Purina at all. No matter what.
So,
30, not the 30-30 or anything. Do you think all of them are
no,
trash or?
no, I wouldn't say that. Actually, Purina has some decent formulas. Their Purina Pro plan is probably their best line.
Right.
Most of them I don't like because they use a lot of corn, soy, and wheat, but they have one that I do like, their sensitive skin and stomach formula that has
Yeah.
salmon
Well,
and that
hell,
has no corn, soy. That one's actually really good.
well, they cost the same as the good dog foods you talked about earlier, though.
Right. I'd rather use that money and buy Open Farm than
Exactly right.
that price.
Yeah,
Open
absolutely.
farm. Okay.
Oh, see, there it is. You're gonna have him shopping tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Oh,
look.
Uh-oh.
We losing?
I'm here. I'm still here.
No, I did.
I'm still here. You see me? You hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
see you.
I
I hear
see
you.
you. Oh, I hit something on my computer and
Gotcha.
y'all went away.
Gotcha.
But it was a me problem, not a y'all problem. But okay, so we get is there anything else besides before we move on to your products and the benefits of your products and what they're used for that you think that you should relay to our audience
Just
about kibble?
Yeah, just be aware, read your labels. One common thing that I see a lot, we talked about allergies, right? There are a lot of dogs with chicken allergies. And a lot of times you'll see a dog food that says beef and rice. And on the front label, you see a beautiful picture of a steak and rice. And the second ingredient in there is chicken. So be aware, read your labels, guys. Just be aware. That's what I would say.
What about chicken fat? I see that in a lot, like chicken fat for it'll say for
Yep.
preservation or preservative.
It's common. Chicken fat is commonly used as a fat source, and that's fine. Like I said, when a dog has a chicken allergy, it's on the protein. They actually should not get affected by the fat itself.
Oh, okay.
Chicken fat is a fine source. I mean, it's fine for fat.
Well, that brings us to your dog butter for sure.
Yep.
My dogs love that, and it definitely any pills or medicines they're on it has fixed that problem. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'd eat it except for it's pretty bland. Like
Right. So I'm the same way. So I've eaten it. We don't use
I
salt.
have.
Yeah, we don't use salt in here because dogs get enough sodium from their diet and they don't need extra sodium. Is no good for them. So to me, it's a little bland too. But it tastes like fresh peanuts, and it is.
Yeah, exactly. I tested that before I gave it to them. I tried it myself. I wasn't going to share it after they've been in it, but
We do make it fresh in small batches. It's made here in the U.S. Our manufacturing plant is in Georgia. The peanuts come from Georgia. We test every lot of peanuts for salmonella, E. coli, aflatoxins, mold, you name it.
so I know. So you got 4 different ones there. You want to tell us exactly what they do and what they're for?
Yes, sir. So the idea with dog butter was, well, number one, a dog safe peanut butter so that you don't have to guess because there are things in human peanut butter they put in that are not good for your dog. Your typical Skippy, hydrogenated oil, salt, sugar, mono and diglycerides, even Skippy Natural. I have the Skippy Natural right here, right? You think it's great because it's natural, right? They add palm oil, they add sugar and salt. Palm oil is terrible for your dog's digestion. They don't need extra sugar and salt. Some human peanut butters, not all, but some, like this brand, contain xylitol, which is a sweetener that's fine for humans, but very toxic for your dog, even in small amounts. We talked about dose before. In a small amount, xylitol will make your dog hypoglycemic. In a large amount, it'll give your dog liver failure or death. So the original idea with dog butter was one that's dog safe. So dog parent can buy it and not have to question or worry about the ingredients. The thing that really made it interesting to us is that we could add superfoods and supplements into the dog butter. And this is what makes it really unique and different. We put fully dosed supplements in here. So you don't have to give a separate pill or a separate powder. It's already in your dog's favorite treat. It's a fun yet functional treat for your dog. So the other 3 that we have superfoods and supplements. This is our Berry Flexible. This one has a fully dosed hip and joint supplement in it. So you get glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM, and turmeric, and we give you the transparent doses on here, plus cranberries in here. Cranberries are good for your dog's urinary tract. This is our Blue Biotic. This one has a fully dosed probiotic supplement in it. We have 6 strains of dog-specific probiotics, plus a prebiotic, plus blueberries. And then this one's super popular. This is our pumpkin puppers. Pumpkin is really good for your dog's digestion, helps regulate their poop. We have a small amount of cinnamon in there as well. Small amount of cinnamon is good for regulating their blood sugar levels and for reducing inflammation.
So I'm guessing age would be a factor. Is it a choice there? Because like the blood sugar and things like that, it's not something you would normally encounter with a puppy. Not that it's
right
exclusive to older dogs, but
so like the hip and joint one, that's more for older or bigger dogs. You probably wouldn't give that to a puppy. You know, if you had a big dog that's prone to hip and joint issues like we do with a Mastiff, I probably wouldn't give it to him in his first year of life, but after that, I would start giving it to him as a preventative. The pumpkin one is great if you have a dog that is, I'm sorry, that's our plane. The pumpkin, I have one here somewhere, but the pumpkin one will help with their poop. I recommend every pet parent keep a can of canned pumpkin on hand in their cabinet. If your dog ever has constipation or diarrhea, give them a tablespoon or 2 of pumpkin and it will clear that up.
Right. It's not just for diarrhea. It's a stool corrector, correct?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter either way. If they
Doesn't
have
it
a problem.
soak the moisture? Doesn't it
really
soak up the
because of
moisture in the
fiber.
poop?
It's really because of the fiber in the pumpkin that helps it.
Is that what soaks up the moisture in the poop to make it back hard?
Yes. The fiber, so fiber will expand, right?
Yeah.
When there's water, it will expand and create bulk in the stool and help you poop.
Right.
So if you're having problems, T-Rod, that's the one for you.
Good for
I think I
humans.
do good every morning.
And the blue one, the is the very berry. Is that what that's
The
the one
blue
that
is
I
the blue
bought.
biotic. That's the one with probiotics. This one is
Okay.
super exciting, and I just love this one. There's so many cool things to it. There's so much good research on probiotics and your dog's gut health being linked to so many different things. There's a specific strain of probiotic that we have in here that has been shown in studies, specifically with younger dogs. It will help protect against skin allergies. And what's really interesting about it is that the studies show that it will give you that protection against skin allergies even years after the dog stops taking the supplement. That's really like exciting stuff. Um, there's another one in here that helps with dog behavior. Christine's a behaviorist, right? Dog's gut health has been linked to aggressive or non-aggressive behavior if their gut health is off. So there's so many good things. It's good for their immune system to help them fight off infection and disease.
So
So much.
so on the probiotics,
Yep.
uh, is there a need for a in the prebiotic in that food for the probiotic? Is there a need in a dog's diet to provide them with both, or is
They're
that
both
just
beneficial. So they work different ways. The probiotic is the actual good bacteria, right? Generally, when you ingest it or your dog ingests it, the probiotics don't last very long, like a day or 2 days, and they're kind of they did their job and they're done. The prebiotic is the food for probiotics. So if you take in a prebiotic, and basically it's fiber, we use inulin in here, that will help your stomach or your dog's stomach create more of its own probiotics in it.
so
So,
that peanut butter has it in it, is what
yep,
you're saying?
we have
So
six
it
six
has the
different
food for the
probiotics.
prob.
Yep, we
Okay,
have six different probiotics and one prebiotic in here
well,
as
there you
well.
go. So I knew there's a reason my dogs liked it.
It's what, listen, we put a lot into this stuff. Like I said, I used to work in the supplement industry. I understand about formulations and dosages and stuff. And it's not just a fun, safe treat, it's an actual functional one. And that's really kind of what makes us different than most companies.
Well, that and your fish oil. Like I'm not going to profess that I know much about that, but I did listen to you when you said it needs to be wild caught, and I thought I'd just run down to our local Tractor Supply and grab one that said that, and that's quite a challenge. So I was standing in the aisle and went ahead and ordered yours.
Nice. So I'll just explain real quick. I don't want to, take up too much time on the fish oil, but fish oil is pretty amazing for your dogs. It's a healthy fat. It provides omega-3s, so many good benefits, mostly skin and coat, but there's benefits to it reduces inflammation. It's good for their heart health. But you want to make sure that you get one with the proper potency. So a couple of things to look for. What type of fish? Where are they sourced from? Are they wild or farm raised? And then the most important thing is the amount of EPA and DHA. This is what you want to look for on the label. That's the potency. Those are the two active ingredients in the fish oil that give you all the benefits. And you want to look at that amount and then you can compare it to other fish oils. And I'm not saying this to brag. We do have the highest potency fish oil on the market. I looked at all the other fish oils. It's very expensive to make our formula, and most companies won't do it because they want to make a certain profit margin. Even my manufacturer kind of almost tried to talk me out of it because he said this formula is going to cost you a lot of money. But we wanted to have the best one on the market, so we
So
went for it.
just one question of that so what's the difference between farm raised and fresh caught? Like other than the obvious, the health benefit, what is or why would you not want a farm raised fish oil?
If you look at the conditions that those farm raised fish are kept in, they're kept in crowded conditions. They're fed a lot of crap. They're eating a lot of crap, literally, because they're in such tight conditions. And it does affect the nutrient profile of those fish. It affects the fatty acid profile. It can have more toxins in it. We talked about toxins. It has to do with the dose, of course, but yes, it can have more toxic stuff in it.
Oh, well, that makes sense. So I think that just about covers everything except for your and Christine's work with rescue. I noticed it, I've
Wait,
seen
wait, hold on.
countless times. Oh,
I
okay.
got
Never
one
mind.
more. I got one more before you go there far. Hold
Yeah.
on. So depending on, I know it's probably going to depend on weight, but how many times would you recommend? And I know every dog is different too. Feeding your dogs a day. How many times a day?
A great question. And there is an answer. If you want to know what the science says,
I know what you're gonna. I know. I probably know what you're gonna say.
The
It's gonna be
science
way.
says the
It's
science
probably
says once a day is
once a day.
now
Right.
that's based on one study. When we look at research, and I do a lot, I nerd out on this stuff. We never want to we never want to go overboard about one study. In research, you want to see multiple studies that show the same thing. That's when you really have a scientific consensus. But there's not a lot of studies out there. There's one, and it showed that feeding once a day had health benefits as opposed to feeding multiple times a day. Is it definitive? Do I think it makes a huge difference? I don't. Honestly, if you fed the same amount of nutrients, as long as the calories and nutrients are the same, if you spread that out into 2 meals, I don't think it makes a huge difference. But that one study did show that it did make a difference. We feed ours once a day, if you wanted to know.
So what about well, I guess if he's gonna get one more, I'm gonna get one more because I just thought about something I seen you say, and I want to bring it up. Fasting. How do you feel about fasting a dog, and what's the benefit to that? Real quick,
So this study that showed once a day kind of alluded to that that's what gives it the benefits is the fasting. There are some health benefits to fasting. We know in humans that there are some health benefits to it. Gives your digestion a rest, right? You're not constantly digesting food. There's a thing called autophagy, and it's not only stimulated by fasting, but fasting does help stimulate it. Basically, it's when your cells kind of turn over. All the bad cells die off and new cells are reborn. It's called autophagy, and it's how your body kind of heals itself. So there's some benefits to the fasting.
well, I feel like we covered a lot of information, and I feel like I even learned. I listen to you all the time. I'm not going to completely just
Thank
mark
you.
out here, but I listen to you as much as I possibly can. My kids don't like you. Just on the because you're on early in the mornings, right? So on the ride to school, they're like, "Oh, is that guy again?" Yeah, it is. We're gonna we're
Thank you
gonna
for
learn
tuning
about
in, man.
we're
I
learning about
appreciate it.
kibble and fish oil this morning. So we're gonna go on with it. But I just want to give y'all a chance to talk about your rescue work and also how you donate
Yep.
and how if I'm not mistaken, I seen where like people could send in like a suggestion and y'all will vet it and you could add it to a list for donation for
Yes,
local
that's
rescues.
This is a I'm gonna let Christine take this because this is really her baby, but this is a huge part of our business was creating a mission to give back to rescue. I'm gonna let Christine take it from here.
so like I said way earlier, I started in rescues, shelters, being a kennel handler, kennel worker, and they they need help. They need help. Right now, there's thousands of dogs a day being euthanized because there's too many dogs, and it's sad. So the donation that we give is a percentage of our sales every single month. Uh, if it's local, we go, we try, video it. If it's not local, it's over the states or whatever. We do like Eric will video me. We'll have them video themselves, and we'll do it online and what have you. But we want to give back. I have been giving back to rescues since I'm a kid, since I'm 15 years old. And when Eric and I started dating 100 years ago, um, he wasn't it. He didn't know much about it. And when I introduced the rescue life to him, and seeing the conditions that some of these dogs are in, and what happens on a daily basis, it got to him because he is an animal lover. I'm an animal lover, and how do we help? We need people. We need people, and we need money. At the end of the day, my friend just started a rescue a couple of months ago. Her vet bill is already over $30,000, and she just started $30,000. Just started because we pick up the dogs that are dumped. This guy, he is a rescue. He was returned uh 2 times before the current people adopted him because dogs are expendable, and they're a commodity. That's how people treat animals. So
I don't think he appreciated being called a rescue. He gave you the side eye and then just got up and walked
no,
right in
that's
front
it.
of you.
He want that's because he wants to poop. That's why.
Uh,
Like I said, this dog. The day I met him, he bit me, and this is the one that I said, "Go ahead, you're gonna bite me. I know you're gonna bite me." I I wish I wish folks would understand that there are perfectly good dogs that are in shelters and rescues, meaning not all of them are pit bulls that are vicious. That's a whole other conversation. Not all of them are there because they're bad. There are legitimate, I'll say legitimate, reasons that people have to surrender a dog. There are perfectly good pets that are in rescues and shelters. Why not help them? Why not? Why not help them get the heck out of there because they live in a box? So my life has been giving back. Rescues that I work with, if when a dog gets adopted, a puppy gets adopted, or any dog gets adopted, I go and I give the adopter gets a free 45-minute session from me. I go out of my way, go there, go to their house, answer questions, work the dog in front of them, see if they need anything. I don't have to do that. If I get hired thereafter, hey, that's a bonus, but that's a part of the rescues package. You get access to Christine, our dog trainer. She comes to you, she gives you, a free 45-minute session. So I want to save them all, and you can't. And not all of them can be saved, but if more folks would understand that they're just not all bad, they're just not all vicious, and that's why they're in the rescue or a shelter. Uh, Last night, Christmas, Eric can attest to this. I went to the rescue and I picked up a dog named Bubbles. Bubbles is a couple years old. She was dumped and she was still lactating. So basically, people used her to procreate, have puppies, so they could make money. And they dumped her. So the precinct called the rescue that I run with, and she went and she got her. This dog is the sweetest, happiest. That's why we named him Bubbles. Eric, how was that dog last night? Nobody ever met Bubbles. My father, my mother,
All
my
happy.
husband. No, I walked in with the dog right off a leash. Here you go, Bubbles. All she wants is love. There is absolutely no reason for this dog to be in a shelter, a rescue, put down. She's a big, big meathead pit bull. She's not vicious. She doesn't bite anybody. She loves all dogs. In the rescue, other dogs that we have that get along with dogs, they run in the back. They play. She's a beautiful dog. You know what? She ain't never going to get adopted. I mean, yes, she will, but it's going to take time. But there was no reason for these pieces of crap who used her to dump her. So we give back a percentage of our proceeds every month. And yes, for the folks that watch this and hear this, please reach out to Paw Power Nutrition. We have our emails on there, message boards on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And if you have a non-for-profit rescue that you recommend, that you've adopted your dogs from, that you volunteer at, reach out because it's odd. It's odd. You want to hear something really weird? I'll email rescues and introduce Paw Power. We want to give you a donation. We want to give you some product. People don't answer. How do you beg for money, for your rescue, but then I'm offering you something and you don't answer? It's weird, but it is what it is. Yes, if you have a non-for-profit rescue, reach out to Paw Power on our message boards. And I vet and I'll call you back and I'll email you back and I would, I like to line up donations for every month: January, February, March, April, May, June. Right now I have none.
I just sent you two on email.
Oh, you did? Okay, so maybe I have
It's
January,
early today.
February. But
Well, we,
ma-
we
you know,
have one local that I'll definitely pass that along to
pass it
and
on.
email.
Pass it on. Yep.
Yeah, and I know there it's so it's County Line Rescue. So
Okay.
if you see that one come across and you vet it and they're worthy of your donation, please.
Just send me an email with their name, and if you know anybody, like a contact person, because I won't remember because I get
Okay.
1,000 emails a minute.
Okay. Well, I will do that.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
I want to personally thank y'all for your time. This is it's been longer than I really anticipated, and I know y'all's time is valuable. And I can't thank you enough for doing this. And I feel like this is going to lead to some people getting educated when it comes
I
to
hope
dog
so.
food, and maybe some prolonged lives and a few more memories that wouldn't have been available And hopefully it leads to y'all selling more dog butter because then that'll lead to more donations to the shelters. Everybody wins.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, we are Eric and I are passionate about dogs, animals, health, benefits, saving, helping, giving back, and educating. If we can educate one person each day, they pass it on, they learn it, they pass it on, they pass it on. We have to educate people. That's really what the nutrition, the training, the behavior, what to do, what not to do, education.
Well, I think y'all are doing that. I mean, I'm one person, and you got to me, and I'm sure T Rod was tired of hearing about y'all until he met y'all tonight because I mean, telling him I don't know if I do that because Eric said.
Right.
Yeah, man,
It,
it's
it,
pretty
it,
dope.
I
It was
want
pretty
people
dope.
to just think about what they do before they do it and do a little research. And it's just don't go on a whim. Don't do things on a whim. And this is coming from someone who is hot-headed, and I am all or none in a second. Eric will tell you that. I'm a 0 to 600 miles an hour in a second. But when I have to make a decision about animals, when I have to walk into a rescue or a shelter or somebody's house and I'm looking at the dog, I got to make a split decision if that dog's going to bite me. I got to, make a decision. Educate yourself. There's no walk over to a dog and start jumping up and down and petting the dog. You don't know that dog. And then you want to say, oh, the dog bit me. It's a pit bull. Well, don't run over to the dog and pet it. Mastiffs. People see Aries. People saw Athena. Seen all my mastiffs before. And there they go, running over to a big ass dog. Yay, yay, yay. And when the dog goes, roar, they want to know why.
I think they
Let's
know.
educate.
I think they know why. They might not want to know, but
That's the problem. But then the dog gets the rap. You understand that? That's the
yeah,
problem. That's
that
how a
that
bite happens because you scared the crap out of the dog and the human. The human reacted by grabbing the leash and holding it tighter. The dog perceived a threat. The dog bit. And now the dog is a piece of garbage. Now the dog's got to get put down.
you're fighting a whole social media
I
problem
know.
and the news like 18 German shepherds could bite somebody in a day, but one pit bull bite somebody and they
I
lead
want, you
with
know
the
what?
pit
Let me
bull.
let me let me let
That's
me
just
educate.
how it is.
Let me educate. Let me educate right now because this is I'm passionate about this. PSI, pounds per square inch. That is how a dog's jaw bite is measured. Go online and Google PSI on dog bites. I want everybody to see where the pit bull jaw PSI is. It's in
Well,
the
it's
200s.
I'm gonna assume that it's the dogs with the longer snout because of the leverage
It has
that
nothing to do with
have
this. It has
more.
nothing to do
No,
with the snout. It's pounds per square inch on each dog's jaw. A pit bull is around 2 to 250 to 275 psi's on a bite. Aries, my mastiff, that is home with my husband, his psi is about 500. So you
well,
cannot say that a pit bull's bite is the worst bite because it's not.
I didn't.
There's
I
different
said it was a
types of.
Chihuahua. That's what I said. I said it was a
Well,
Chihuahua.
you're
So,
more likely to get bit by a chihuahua than a pit bull.
well,
That's for sure. That's for
that's
sure.
that's all I need to know to not have
I want
one.
everybody to look up PSI on a dog's bite jaw on a jaw dog bite and look and educate yourself. All the breeds well above a pit bull that have way high PSIs on a bite. And by the way, pit bulls do not have locked jaws. There is no
Yeah, because what
mechanism.
about like canines, like the certain, German shepherds and things like that? They would probably be higher than a pit bull, right?
Shepherd isn't all that high. Shepherd
It's
isn't all
not.
that high.
Okay.
No.
Wow.
But what about you? See, canines, what? He's got canines. He's got canines. Everybody's got a canine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I mean like the police dog. Oh, my
Right.
bad.
That
I tell
that
you what, T Rod, what we need to do is we need to do that. We need to look
Yeah.
that up, make a list, or copy a list wherever we find it, and we need to post it and just keep reposting it on
that's
our
right. That's
website
right.
there.
Because the pit bull's bite is not the worst bite. The difference is that they can hold on longer. That's
Probably
the
just
difference.
more athletic dogs, I
That's
guess.
what makes a bite. But you know what? You could take Rottweilers. Want to get bit by a Rottweiler? No, you don't, because they don't let go. And their PSI, I believe, because I don't have this memorized, is somewhere around the pit, if not a little bit higher.
Well, I think you personally need to write that book and maybe make a series of it. I don't know, but you need to translate that book that you have into layman terms.
I am. I started that. I have started that maybe about a year ago when Laura, my mentor, my professor, my friend, told me that she was retiring and leaving me the business. I started to do that.
Well, I'm gonna go be a buyer just as soon as you let me know that it's out.
I also wanted to do a journal on this guy right here because this is a fabulous. It's a long, fabulous. I'm working with this dog 6, 7, 8 months already. This is I got a lot of success stories, but there's success and there's super success. Success is when I leave the client and the dog is basic, has basic obedience and everybody's happy. That's success. Then there's super success. Super success is when I come back months later and the dog is amazing because the people continue to do the work, add on. Because long after I'm gone, people stop. They don't add on time, distance. They don't reiterate, they don't reinforce. The dog goes backwards. This son of a gun right here, I cannot tell you what these people did. And I don't take the credit. All I did was give them an education. I taught the people.
Yeah.
This dog went from a hell in a handbasket to this. To this. Take me out, I gotta go pee pee is what he's saying. Yeah, everything. Hi, Buzz. Yeah. This dog bit me. This dog bit me the first day I met him. Hi, Buzz. I love you.
Well,
That's a pit bull.
you can
And
never
that's a
be
pit
best
bull.
friends. You can never be best friends unless you start off hating each other first. You know what I'm saying?
And I want you to know this is a pit bull, by the way. Look, my face is near. Blah, blah,
It's
blah.
horrible. It's horrible. It's
Look
a
at this.
horrible
Look
dog.
at this vicious pit bull. Oh my God. All right, I'm done ranting about pit bulls now.
Well, I do appreciate y'all's time. We'll let y'all go and I'm gonna be honest with you, Christine. I wouldn't mind having you back on. You too, Eric, but it would get repetitive and because every morning I feel. Oh, well, you need to tell people where to come watch your lives at and where to
Yep.
get this information from y'all.
Yep. You can find us on TikTok, Paw Power Nutrition. We're basically that on all social medias, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. But that's where I do the lives on TikTok.
Is the lives are only on TikTok?
Yep, for now. We're gonna do more. Yep.
You're gonna do more. Well, I hope you do. Like I said, I'll watch it. My kids are not that fond of it, but it'll grow on them. You know what? They're gonna grow up and have an education that they didn't even know they were gonna get through osmosis, right?
There you go.
So I appreciate y'all's time, and
Thank you.
Thank
we're
you.
gonna let y'all get on with your weekend, and we look forward to talking to you. And I'll see you on your next live.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right,
Nice
very
meeting
much.
y'all.
Guys, have a
Yes.
Good
great
night.
day. Thanks, P. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank
Huh?
you.
Bye.
All right. Let's see.